Well, I want to talk about the college football playoff situation first.
All right, start us off with that.
USC is within striking distance, again, of making the college football playoff. And ESPN's projections say that if they win out against Iowa, now the weather thing is now creating a wrench in this a little bit. And so they beat Iowa, Oregon, and then they've
UCLA.
got UCLA, right? Am I missing anyone?
No, you got them.
Okay. Oregon at Oregon's going to be tough, no question about it. Iowa's going to be tough, and I don't think UCLA, in theory, is a cakewalk either because it's a rivalry game. But if they win out, if they have an 81% chance to make the CFP, man.
Look,
that's all I've been saying. They are in the conversation.
They are nationally ranked. They're 17 in the country. They've got some wins that are okay. I mean, Michigan's a decent win. Michigan's ranked 15th. They lost to Notre Dame, but what they really need is they need Notre Dame to keep on winning because you've talked about quality losses, which I know sounds weird, but if you lose to a team that then goes on to lose to teams that are not highly respected, then it makes your loss to that team not look as good. I hope that made sense to everybody.
No, it did.
So here's the thing. If USC beats Iowa this weekend, okay, that's another nationally ranked opponent. If USC can go on the road and beat a top 10 Oregon team, all of a sudden everybody's paying attention, and USC at that point is probably elevated to 10, 11, 12 in the country, and then you knock off your rival. And then you've won 3 straight games, and you finish strong, and your only losses are to Notre Dame and Illinois. Yeah, the college football playoff, George, would like to have you in. You're USC. You're the LA TV market. You are one of the great historical programs, and you come from one of the best conferences in the country. Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. It just goes back to the words you used. If. That was dramatic. I don't know if you guys caught that. There was a lot of drama there.
Look,
you know what I mean?
I would say this. The more I think about it, I went back and watched a little bit of that Iowa-Oregon game. It was raining there, too. And Iowa's defense, which is incredible, okay? They are one of the top defenses in the country. They allow like 250 yards a game, okay, total.
That's good. I'm writing that down.
Okay.
Put that one down in your notes.
But they gave up 260 on the ground to Oregon because of the wet conditions. The footing wasn't so good for their defense. So actually, now that I think about it, while it doesn't help USC's passing attack, I mean, Iowa didn't fare very well against Oregon in rainy type conditions. So does Iowa learn from that experience? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I think that USC is not just a passing attack. They are a great offense, one of the better offenses. This is certainly a clash of philosophies by every account. But King Miller has done a really good job running the ball for USC.
When he took over, I'm trying to remember what game it was. Probably about 4 weeks ago or so. Anybody remember exactly what game it was where King Miller burst onto the scene? Remember, this was a kid.
It was about a quarter of the way through the season.
This was a kid who was a walk-on. His brother's on the team. He wasn't highly recruited. He could have gone to other places, but he really wanted to stay home and go to USC. This past weekend, King Miller, 15 carries, 127 yards, average over 8 yards per carry, and then there was that one carry in particular. He had the long one. It was a 55-yard run where he burst through the right side of the offensive line, kind of got tripped up, kept his balance, and kept on going. King Miller has become a real guy.
He had 82 yards and a touchdown against Michigan.
Is that the game that he broke out against? Is that because remember the top 2 running backs got hurt?
Yep.
So King Miller has done a really good job, and then you got a couple other guys behind him that'll carry the ball, but not nearly as much. But they can run the ball.
Yeah, they can run the ball, and that's why I'm saying, like, if they can run the ball in the wet conditions, where Iowa struggled a little bit last week uncharacteristically against Oregon because of the conditions, if USC can take advantage of that, they will give themselves a decent chance to win at home. And then, they go to Oregon, and again, I don't think, Oregon is not, powerhouse Oregon this year. They are good, they are very talented, but what is their best win this season? Against Penn State before all the injuries, when they still had Drew Aller and James Franklin was not fired yet, and they were healthy? Yeah, that was a good team, but
it was on the road.
Right, but it's not like we've learned that's not a great team.
No, and they lost to Indiana.
Right. But I would say this. They did lose to Indiana, correct? You're saying Oregon, right?
I'm saying that if you're Oregon and you
don't have a good win necessarily at this point. And by the way, if you look at the CFP right now, this is why USC has a good shot. USC and Miami actually have a good shot. Like ESPN is projecting, even though Miami may not even more than likely won't even make the ACC title game, that they'll get in as an at-large if they win out. USC will have a similar path to Miami if they win out, because Miami will have a head-to-head against Notre Dame. USC will not have that, but they will have beaten Oregon, who will be ranked in the CFP poll, okay? And Iowa, who is currently still ranked in the CFP poll. Mm-hmm. Miami will have 2, maybe 3 wins, depending on if they beat Pitt or whatever, and Notre Dame and USF. So they'll have those wins in their bucket. USC will also similarly have 2 or 3 ranked wins. So they can get in as an at-large, is what I'm saying, because Miami has a path as an at-large without getting to the ACC title game. We saw Ohio State do that last year at 2 losses, okay? And people put them in because they just felt like, well, they're good enough, they're talented enough. They had some good wins. We look at who they've played. Their schedule is good. Their strength of schedule is good. Their strength of record is good. Even though they didn't win the conference, you can get in. We've seen that path with Ohio State last year. USC could do it. Miami could do it. And I think the CFP this year could be very, very interesting because you may even get 2 group of 5 teams in the CFP this year.
Frankly, since USC has joined the Big Ten, we haven't seen Iowa yet. Okay, so this is Iowa coming out, and it looks like an old school Rose Bowl, right? But Iowa's good. They're not great. They're good. I saw them play last week against Oregon. Oregon won that game at Iowa, and then some weird stuff happened at the end of the game where the Oregon kids go down and they start taunting the fans, and the Iowa people start throwing stuff onto the field. It was very un-Iowa-like, because we all think about the hospital in the background and the kids, whatever. So if USC beats Iowa, obviously it sets up the game of the year for USC, and that is going to play top 10 Oregon. And then you got to beat Oregon. And if you somehow beat Oregon on the road, then you come home and you've got UCLA, which honestly you should win.
Yeah.
You should win that game. And if USC goes the distance here and they're able to win these next 3 games, yes, I believe 80%, I'll tell you 100%, they'll find their way into the playoff. The playoff and college football wants, I would even argue in some ways, maybe needs, not just a West Coast team, they need SC. Mm-hmm. Not Oregon, SC. But here's the issue. My Pitt Panthers, this upcoming weekend, host Notre Dame.
They do. It's a big game.
On a day where Aaron Donald will have his number 97 retired. Mm-hmm. You're talking about guys like Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino, Hugh Green, Bill Fralick. I mean, some of the all-time great college football players.
Right.
Larry Fitzgerald and Aaron Donald will be the next to have his jersey retired. You're going to have 65,000 people in Acrisure Stadium when Pitt hosts Notre Dame.
Yins are going to go down to Acrisure.
Yins are going to go down and pound irons in that. You mentioned it yesterday. This is the first time that Pitt Notre Dame are playing head-to-head where both teams are ranked since, I want to say you said it was 1991?
Both teams, first time they're ranked since you played against them.
Right. So I can remember in 1991, I want to say we started out at Pitt 5-0 or 6-0. And then we lost the game to Notre Dame, and the whole season went south right after that.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame crushed us. I'll tell you another game real quick. In 1988, my true freshman year, George, we had first-rounders all over our team. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame, the year before, when Tim Brown won the Heisman Trophy, Pitt went to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame, shocked them. The following year, that's why, remember the Miami Notre Dame 30 for 30, is it Catholics versus Convicts? Mm-hmm. The reason that documentary even gets made is because they document what Miami's doing, what Notre Dame's doing. Notre Dame, and Lou Holtz talked about it, they had revenge on their minds in 1988. They had to come to Pitt and win that game. We had them beat, dude. Yeah. We had them beat. We had a quarterback fumble in the end zone and couldn't recover his own fumble. We had a running back fumble going into the end zone. He couldn't recover his fumble.
Yikes.
I had 2 really big field goals in that game. Got to hype myself up here a little bit.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame winds up going on to win the national championship that year. We had them beat. Notre Dame loses to Pitt this weekend, that hurts USC significantly.
Yeah.
Because if Notre Dame wins, then the USC loss to Notre Dame is still a livable loss from a voter perspective. Mm-hmm. If Pitt beats Notre Dame, now all of a sudden the voters go, well, Notre Dame's not that good anyway.
Right. So Notre Dame will have lost to the 3 good teams they've actually played. Because if you look at their schedule, It's not great. Their schedule, they lost to Miami. They lost to Texas A&M. Right, early in the season as well.
Maybe week 2.
Yeah, it probably was week 2 because they went back home, to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will have beaten Purdue, who stinks, Arkansas, who stinks, Boise, who's not very good, NC State, who's very average, USC, who's pretty good, Boston College, who stinks, and Navy is not that good.
Right. So
they've beaten nobody other than USC, who's a pretty good team.
Right. So if Notre Dame loses this Saturday,
that means they'd be 1-3 against quality opponents,
and it would hurt Notre Dame's it would hurt USC's chances.
Correct,
because they would have lost Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Now you mentioned Miami is another school that a lot of people are already starting to put into the college football playoff.
Well, the ACC champion may not even get in, especially if it's Duke, because they would be a 4-loss team, which would have lost to a bunch of non-conference opponents before. So if Duke somehow wins the ACC championship, because Miami can't get their chance of even getting in the title game are 6%. Because of their 2 losses, there's just a bunch of, and this is what happens with uneven schedules in every conference, because there's 20 teams in all these conferences. They can't all play each other. So there's a bunch of 1-loss ACC teams. And if Duke ends up being one of those 1-loss conference teams that wins the ACC title, they could get, the ACC champion could get left out of the CFP, which means the only chance of the ACC getting a team in would be an at-large Miami or Pitt or Georgia Tech or someone like that.
So here's what has to happen. So you talk about SC's schedule down the stretch. Iowa this weekend, nationally ranked. Oregon the following week ranked, and then rivalry game. For my Pitt Panthers, who are all of a sudden important to the USC story.
Right.
Because if Notre Dame beats Pitt, then USC's loss to Notre Dame,
it looks better.
It's still fine.
Yeah.
The following week, my Pitt Panthers,
they play Georgia Tech.
They've got 2 massive games.
Yeah.
Nationally ranked Georgia Tech and then nationally ranked Miami.
Right, to end the season.
So you could go with 3 straight weeks of playing ranked opponents.
Pitt could find themselves in the playoff.
Where all of a sudden that's true. Because you think about
knocking off SC at the same time.
It could knock SC out. Because you think about the big-time college football games of this upcoming weekend, for those of you guys that haven't looked ahead yet.
Yeah.
You've got Oklahoma this
Alabama.
upcoming weekend. Oklahoma, Alabama. Does that not sound like a national championship caliber game?
It's a big-time game. Yeah.
And then you've got Georgia and Texas.
Right. That's
this weekend.
Now, here's the thing. Texas plays Georgia, and then they have another game down the stretch that's also really tough. But if they win one of those 2 tough games remaining on their schedule, they're going to put Texas in, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I think
it's Texas A&M. Obviously, their rivalry game at the end.
It's the brand of Texas. It's the name Arch Manning. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to have Texas in.
And their strength of schedule is really tough because, remember, they have a 1-score loss to Ohio State to start the season.
So it really is incredible how we're talking about college football now.
It's a committee. It's like the NCAA tournament.
But it's so different than it was just a few years ago. And right now, you've got all these teams that are trying desperately to find their way in.
Yeah.
And winning is paramount, but making sure that whoever you lost to continues to win.
Oh, yeah. You have to root for your losses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got to hope that Notre Dame, if you're an SC fan.
Notre Dame's got to win out.
Right. If you're an SC fan, SC's got to beat Iowa, and Notre Dame has to beat Pitt. If you're a Pitt fan, Pitt got to beat Notre Dame, and we don't care what happens to USC and Oregon.
As crazy as it sounds for Trojan fans, you got to have. Obviously, you got to win out, and you have to hope Notre Dame wins out. That's your best bet of trying to get in. Now, there has to be some other shenanigans in there, like you don't want Oklahoma to upset Alabama. That would be bad because then that puts Oklahoma back in the picture, and Alabama all of a sudden drops some. You don't want that. You need chalk in the SEC if you're USC. So those are the 3 things. You got to win out, okay? You need chalk in the SEC. And you need Notre Dame to win out. Those are the 3. If those 3 things happen, USC can find themselves in the playoff. They have a pretty, I would say, better than pretty good chance, a good chance to get in.
Well, I'll tell you this weekend, I'm so bummed out. On one hand, I'm going to visit my daughter at Tulane.
Yeah.
It's the first time she's a senior that I'm going to actually go to visit her for a weekend and go see a football game with her this weekend. How's this one sound? I mean, you got all these big games, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Pitt, Notre Dame. How's this one sound?
Right.
How's this? Tulane versus Florida Atlantic.
Right. By the way, for the Mongrels, Rincon, Antonius Rincon.
Yeah,
you say the ACC winner gets an automatic bid. Not true. The way the CFP is stated is the top 5 conference champions in their rankings get automatic bids. So that includes the group of 5 champions. Okay? So yes, a 4-loss Duke team, if they win the ACC, could get left out even if they win the conference championship.
By the way, they should get left out.
Because if South Florida, let's just use them as the example because they're in the top 25 ranking of the CFP, in the American Athletic Conference, wins their conference, and James Madison, Bob Chesney, Greg, who I told you about yesterday, if they go 12-1, there is an outside chance they will win the Sun Belt and will have a better overall resume than a 4-loss Duke team.
Well, I could buy that, but gosh, man, James Madison from the freaking Sun Belt,
dude,
really?
They are not like, I mean, if they end up playing like Ohio State in the first round, they're going to get trounced. But if they play like somebody not that good, they'll be in the game.
Well, remember, who was it last year that Boise State played in the first round?
They crushed North Carolina in the game I did last year.
I remember watching that game and thinking to myself, oh, my God.
They put up 70 on them.
Yeah, I do remember that game. Like, North Carolina's getting ham-slammed by freaking James Madison, and it's not just losing 35-34. They put up, like you said, I think it was almost 70 points.
70-50, they won that game.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So they're not a bad team.